This lesson is going to review parallel and perpendicular lines and how they are used on the ACT. You will need to know how to find the slope given a line. Let's review some examples in the classroom. Okay, let's talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. First of all, parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have what's called negative reciprocal slopes. Some people call them opposite reciprocals. I put it in English, it's just you flip the slope and change its sign. Flip it and change its sign. So let me show you graphically the difference between parallel and perpendicular, and we'll label the slopes. If I give you a line, and I tell you the slope is 2/3. If I wanted to look at a line that would be parallel to it, I'm going to put two arrows out, means parallel. Parallel lines, don't forget, they don't meet, they don't intersect. That means they have to have the same slope. So I'm going to write over here my symbol for parallel, slope equals 2/3. Don't forget M stands for slope, just in case you're wondering, you forgot that. Now let's take a look at perpendicular. Perpendicular lines do meet. They meet at right angles, at 90 degrees. So you would see this. You would see 90-degree angles they would meet at. So perpendicular, that's an upside down capital T. That's a symbol for that. Perpendicular slope would be, now I said negative reciprocal is a technical word, opposite reciprocal, I just put it in English, flip it and change its sign. So we're going to take that number of 2/3 that was given, we're going to flip that number, 3/2, change its sign. Doesn't matter where you put the negative, you can put it on top, bottom, or out front. It all gives you a negative number. Now let's take a look at a situation that you could be given on the ACT. They're probably going to give you an equation. But one thing you need to know is you need to remember y equals mx plus b. When you have y by itself and you just have mx plus b on the right side, when you got y by itself, make sure it's by itself first of all. Whatever number's in front of the x, that's your slope of the given line. So they're going to give you an equation of a line. And then they're going to either ask you, what is the slope of a parallel line to it or a perpendicular line to it? Let me give you an example. Say they give you y equals 1/2 x plus 3. You notice y is by itself. It's in that slope-intercept form, that y equals mx plus b form. You can say with confidence, slope of that line that's given is 1/2. Well, what must be a slope of any line parallel to it? The same thing, 1/2. Well, what must be the slope of a line perpendicular to it? So the perpendicular slope, as I said earlier in English, flip it and change its sign. So it's going to be flip it, that's 2/1, make it negative. You can write it -2/1, but they're probably going to see it on the ACT as just -2. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Let's take a look at a situation where they don't give it y equals mx plus b form, and that's probably how they're going to do it. Like 3x plus 4y equals 8. That's not in the form you need. Is y by itself here? No. So you need to solve for y. So we've got to do two things. We've got to subtract 3x. So that's going to give us 4y equals -3x plus 8. Notice I put the x term first, so it's just the x term first when you get y by itself. All we got to do now is divide everything by 4. I'm going to get fancy. I'm just going to do this. That means divide everything by 4. So you're going to get y equals -3/4 x plus 2. Because you get -3 divided by 4, -3/4, 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now let's identify what is the slope. You've got y by itself now. You got it in that mx plus b form. So slope of this line has to be -3/4. What does the slope of the line parallel to it have to be? The exact same. What's the slope of a line perpendicular to it? Let's flip it 4/3 and change the sign. That's a negative slope. This one's got to be a positive. Let's try one more. I just want to make sure you got this. negative 5x plus 10y equals 30. Okay, we're going to solve for y because it's not in y equals mx plus b form. So let's add 5x to both sides. So we're going to get 10y equals 5x plus 30. And then divide everything by 10. So we're going to get y equals 1/2 x. I know I kind of skipped a step. 5 divided by 10 is not divisible by 10, but 5 over 10 reduces to 1/2. Then we have 30 over 10. That's just going to be plus 3. So that's getting y by itself. Now the slope of this line, whatever number is in front of that x, 1/2. What's any line parallel to it got to be? Have the same slope. And perpendicular. Let's flip it and change its sign. -2.